Hello everyone, I am Matt Williamson. How's it going? I just got home from OTA number 1. Wanted to give you some initial impressions, immediate reactions. Now, don't overreact. I mean, again, I often say these sessions are like kindergarten, first grade, and eventually we need to get this football team and the young guys to a master level course of college. You know, there's a lot to go ahead of us. But that being said, the environment was great. I mean, it was a little chilly, but it was a nice day. But I mean, you could see enthusiasm, a lot of guys excited to get back on the field, a lot of laughing, joking, camaraderie. Even the media was in good spirits. So, and that's usually the case. It's the first time any of these guys have put a helmet on in a while. And so that was great. I mean, you saw a lot of that kind of stuff. And again, the practices are not super spirited in terms of there's no collisions really. There's no blocking, tackling kind of stuff. But there's individuals and they do, you know, some stuff near the goal line. And, you know, mostly it's against like a scout team though, all in all. But I do want to give you some player impressions. And I should have probably mentioned this to start the show. I am going to give you my first impressions of OTAs, do a mailbag tomorrow. So if you're going to start getting me questions for that, that's great. And then kind of wrap up the first week of OTAs. And that'll be the end of my 5 for the week. But you could just tell Tomlin was enthusiastic. The coaches were enthusiastic. The players were enthusiastic, which is exactly what you want. You don't want them going, man, I got to get back to work, you know. So there was none of that. Now, I'm sure, and I'm probably missing some because it wasn't what I was doing the whole time. Frankly, I'm on the air from 10 to 1, which is before practice till after practice. And they give us a player to chat to. So it's hard to really, really pay close attention, especially to the defensive side of the ball because they're on the second field. The offense is right in front of us. So I wasn't sitting around looking for those that are not in attendance. But some notables that I think I did not see. I'm pretty sure I didn't see. I know I didn't see, but I don't think they were there. Cordarrelle Patterson, which I wonder, did they just tell him, you're getting cut? And I don't understand that situation. I'm still a little baffled by that. Isaac Seumalo wasn't there. So Anderson was running with the first team left guard. And in case you're curious, Broderick Jones is the left tackle. And Troy Fuatanu, who actually sat down with us. It was a great interview with him. He's enthusiastic. I'm pretty excited about him. Was the starting right tackle with the ones. DK Metcalf wasn't there. And TJ Watt was another one that was not there. He's got a contract looming. Again, I'm sure people are going to make a big deal out of who was not at an optional practice, but don't. I mean, I think there's more to take away from who was there this week than who isn't there. And that includes Aaron Rodgers, by the way, too. So BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the NBA to NHL playoffs to MLB to UFC and boxing, BetOnline has you covered for all your online wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here. So again, I didn't get a real good look at the defense, but I will tell you Wyatt Black is as big and as menacing as I expected. Harmon absolutely looks the part as well, as does Sawyer. As you guys know, that wasn't my favorite pick, but it makes a lot of sense, especially when you see like him and Herbig walking off the field together. Like they look like they play two different positions. I mean, Sawyer is a big, strong dude. And as we talked about with the edge rush stuff yesterday, Herbig's an undersized pass rush specialist. Great. I mean, that's why they both are going to play different roles, even though they play the same position. And I am warming up to the Sawyer pick for all those reasons. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's, oh, he's terrible. What are they thinking? No, that's never been the case with me on that pick. Running back drills were right in front of us. And Caleb Johnson, I thought he'd look a little taller, a little longer, but he is really strapped together and very little body fat, very muscular. He is an impressive physical specimen, and just really paying attention to him with his new running back teammates, very personable, which everyone explained him that way, really into it, super enthusiastic. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be one of the team leaders right away, but I could see that within time. A rookie running back usually doesn't assume that role, but I think that was a promising start for him for sure. And he moves well. His feet are light and he's super enthusiastic, as I mentioned. Now, I also found it kind of interesting that Trey Sermon, Evan Hull, these, especially Patterson, not in the mix, I assume, that some of these bottom of the roster running backs, especially those two I just mentioned, have a little bit of pedigree. They were mid-round picks, highly productive Big Ten players. I didn't even realize they'd signed Hull. Now, I'm not saying either one's going to light the world on fire, but it wouldn't shock me at all that when we get to Latrobe, that we will have more conversations about the, quote, lesser running backs than usual. That a lot of these guys are at a kind of a career crossroads and need to do something big to stick around and be a professional athlete for much longer. So maybe you'll find something there. I'm intrigued by that. Tight ends didn't really stand out all that much, except I will say Washington and Freiermuth both look great. I have no qualms with those, no worries with those guys. Washington's really strapped together. Quarterbacks, Rudolph, of course, ran with the ones. Skylar Thompson acted as the 2, which is not an indictment on Will Howard at all. And in case you don't know, Skylar Thompson is a pretty good athlete. I mean, he's a plus athlete for sure. He moves around well, throws well on the run. I don't know that we have to get to know him all that well. Will Howard absolutely looks the part. I mean, well built, as you would expect. Ball comes out of his hands, nice. So the little that he was able to display, very catchable ball. So the little that I saw from him, again, these are minimal practices, folks, was check the boxes, everything as advertised, if not more. So that was encouraging as well. I wouldn't say there was a wide receiver that lit me up, or there wasn't a ton of deep passing or that kind of thing. But didn't see a wide receiver of note that I was jumping out of my skin about, good or bad, to be honest with you. Frankly, I mean, just from a personal perspective, I was disappointed not to see DK Metcalf in person because he's like the most physically impressive wide receiver that's ever walked the earth. So I just wanted to see him. Maybe he'll be there tomorrow. Who knows? I don't know why he was there. He doesn't have to explain it to us or anyone. It's not a big deal. Last thing I got is the O-line. Again, we sat down with Troy, who was super personable. Couldn't be more excited to get back out there after his injury. Seems to totally adapted to the right side. So I have a lot of optimism about that guy. I think he's got a chance to be an exceptional right tackle. Now, this isn't saying the left side of the line look crappy, but they do half line drills where there was Frazier, McCormick, and Fautanu. The three of them were practicing outside zone, to the right side. And again, it's versus air, but it really showed to me, and this was mostly pre-practice stuff, how quick and athletic that trio is. Moving is one. You could really envision Caleb Johnson running outside zone to the right behind the three of them, how nimble they are in space, how light on their feet they are collectively, how quick they are out of their stance. So I thought that was great. And really even just seeing those guys in person too, again, without pads on, they're not fully padded up. They're not fat guys. I mean, all these dudes are athletes. There's not a lot of extra pounds on them or anything like that. I still, Broderick Jones was fine. He always looks the part in these situations. I still, and just chatting with some people down there, other media folks, a lot of them agree. And even just getting a vibe, I'm a little worried still about the O-line depth. I wish that there was one more young third-round pick in the mix, a tackle that could maybe even be your guard next year. So that has me a little concerned. I mean, they've grabbed a lot of these dudes that are, the Sharpings of the world, fine. And those guys stick in the league because there's such an O-line shortage. But I wish there was one more depth guy to get excited about, you know what I mean? As opposed to hoping he's okay. So that's kind of where I'm at on the offense as a whole. As mentioned, I haven't seen as much of the defense. I'll try to pay more attention the next 2 days, but from where I sit, it's not super easy. But I just wanted to give you my first impressions, really, of your 2025 Steelers. And that's what this is. I mean, this is kindergarten. This is first grade. This is, learning to read and write. Training wheels are still on the bike. I mean, that kind of thing. So don't get crazy. That's my biggest message is whatever you read. I know all of you are so eager to hear about this stuff, which is awesome. But whatever you hear and read these next couple weeks, I would not overreact to at all. I mean, 100%, especially who's not there. All right, everyone, we'll mailbag it up tomorrow, and then we'll probably wrap up OTA week 1 with some major impressions, hopefully, who knows. That's a wrap. See ya.